Hey, can you
Yeah,
hear
I can.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can
Right. Hi,
see.
everyone.
Hey,
All
hi
right.
everyone. I, we can see
Can you
your
see my
first slide.
screen?
Yep, you can
Yes,
see first slide.
I can see you. It's nice. Hello.
I was conscious about this one, like presenting the right screen. So, hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Yay. I have a lot of questions.
So I'm ready when you give me the green light start. Should I go for it?
Yeah, yeah, we are already
All
2 minutes later. We can go.
Welcome.
Yep, it's all yours.
Thank you. Let me bring up my notes and let's start. Hi, everyone. My apologies if I keep looking at the other screen. I'm just having the screen on the other side, but I need to look at the camera in front of me. So good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you all joining me today to talk about an interesting topic, which is Sitecore AI. So my name is Ishraq. I'm a Sitecore MVP from AppleStack, and I'm going to talk you through part of the journey that we had earlier this year with Sitecore AI, our journey towards getting to know it better, the business cases behind it, and then hopefully the next time when we think about Sitecore AI, we would know exactly what we are talking about instead of the million thoughts that comes to mind when we start thinking about Sitecore AI. So as a startup, I just want to thank actually and show appreciation to everyone who's working during this extraordinary and tough time within the COVID-19. Thankfully, the organizers and the SUGCON wanted to show the appreciation from the community by creating this donate page. So when you have the chance, share this link with your friends, with your families fortunate than us. Please do, if you can, like simply pray and show of solidarity is what we need within these, tough times. And another thank you for the organizers for creating our Chillout lounge or a break room. Unfortunately, we didn't have the chance to have this in person to have this opportunity, but digital is always can come into rescue. So feel free to get into this lounge, talk about nothing about Sitecore or all things Sitecore. Feel free to mingle and chat. It's your space to, pause for a day, have a chat with your friends, and then resume your work. But make sure not to share this on your social media so we can avoid Zoom bombing. All right. I wanted to actually kick off this discussion with asking the question, do we need AI or is AI right for you? And the reason why I wanted to start with this conversation is, AI, when we talk about it in its broad term, it is not an easy question to answer. It can come up with, lots and lots and lots of definitions. It can vary from one discipline to the other. It can mean something to me that's different for someone else, right? So before you start to think about what solutions out there about AI, always take a step back and think about, does my business actually really need AI? And the reason why I wanted to start with this is like a couple of months back, I was working with a client of mine, and we were building this business case to do an upgrade to Sitecore 9, right? So, you start with putting the benefits of the upgrade, get rid of the technical debts that we had from previous versions, and then we are trying to evaluate, points of integration that we had that we need to make sure that we're bringing into Sitecore 9. And one of the main features that we have currently in Sitecore 8 was marketing automation. So the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about marketing automation, you think Sitecore 9 is like, wait, listen, this is coming out of the box. This makes for a great business case to, to use to demo for the business to accept, like to go and give us the green light with the upgrade. But then halfway through thinking about it, we paused for a bit and we said, like, listen, we're a commerce site, right? But we only sell specific products for specific manufacturers to create certain products. And I kid you not, personalization is not even used with the website because it does not make the business case for us to use it within, our main objectives, our revenue model. And our focus on marketing automation was more about filling the form fulfillment and continuing with the process moving forward. So it is nice that we know the capabilities of the products that we're working with, but always think about the business case. Do we need marketing automation? Does marketing automation fits within the case that we're trying to present? That was not the case. And AI is the same thing. So you start to think about, okay, everyone's talking about AI. Now we're talking about commoditizing AI within the framework, right? But is it right for me as a business to start with both all of this initial investment to say, is AI right for me? And the second question that comes to mind as well, does the current framework support it, right? So you start to think about the AI capabilities that you are looking for. Is it something that need to be native to your platform? I don't have the resources with the proper knowledge to employ AI in-house. So I'm looking into a version of Sitecore in this case that has AI built into it. So if we are in Sitecore 8, then maybe this starts with to think about making a valid point towards upgrading to a proper version. Or we actually have this or these capabilities internally, so our team, we are confident that they can take care of that, or it's a mix of both. So when we think about these different aspects when trying to solve a problem, first we need to know that we are actually having a problem in the first place. AI could be a potential solution to it, and then we start to investigate, do we have the capabilities and the platform to do with it? So the next question that comes to mind, where does AI fit within our Sitecore? What's the current Sitecore offering that actually covers AI? And before I dig deep into like the technicalities or stuff around that currently in Sitecore, I just want to make the case for the business. So when we talk about using AI within Sitecore, we definitely talking about the customer experience, right? How we can apply AI to enhance the customer experience for our customers, and there is different use cases or applications to that. I'm gonna mention a couple of, but obviously the first thing that comes to mind is personalization, right? We want to enhance the customer experience by using AI to enhance personalization or to help us with that. And if I ask you a question now, like, what's the most common thing that you think on a daily basis you are interacting with the brands, and AI is most likely the technology that you're interacting with? Amazon could be one of them, and maybe just because keep shopping online, but Amazon actually is one of the first things that comes to mind. And here comes the recommendation system, right? So as a quick win, recommendation is a form of AI that can be applied and investigated. And it's like the report says like around 35% of Amazon's revenue is actually coming from the recommendation system. So, the well-known users who bought X also bought Y, based on your interaction with this the product to recommend this. So what we're trying to achieve by utilizing recommendation as part of this automation or this AI learning is to increase our upselling, our cross-selling, find out content that we can suggest or products that can help us do the suggestion. And how we can measure that? Do our customers actually do click on these recommendations that we bought? So we can start measuring the conversion rate, the visitor engagement with these solutions that we are provided to make sure that, yeah, recommendation in our case was the right thing to do. But that does not mean recommendation fits for every and single business, right? And another area would be segmentation. So segmentation is one of the powerful marketing strategy or tool that we tend to, divide our audiences into targeted groups, and then we start doing the personalization based on these different groups and how similar they are to each other, and we start to measure their propensity score. So if it's a commerce site, then are they in the hot, like warm, cold phase of their interaction? Are they potential customers? Are they potential buyers? Or they're just visitors who looking around the site? So segmentation is one of the most important, let's say, capabilities that we can get from AI when we are trying to enhance the customer experience. And obviously, it can help you discover new segments that not necessarily you'll be able to do, and give you more insights on the interaction. So if we put, our customers and our visitors in one side, on the other side, we have, the marketing aspect of your business, right? The marketing activities. And one of the use cases that we can apply AI on it would be content metadata. So another client of mine, we were doing a migration to Sitecore, and it was new to them. They were migrating like more than 10,000 articles to the site, and the effort that they have put behind just, identifying these metadata and doing all the SEO activities, just looking at that was mind blowing, because you have different options. Should I automate or should not automate? And they opted into not automating that because they wanted to train their content authors on working with Sitecore. So that part of the migration has been like a test, like a training for them. But obviously these scenarios where you have lots and lots of articles, whether you want to create metadata, if you want to do that for content or for images or for whatever form of content you have, if you can get away by automation, go for it, because it's a very valuable tool or application of using AI. Another form, so our content authors won't feel bad about it, is like using the helpers such as bots, such as predictions and search results and predictive results and general. So anything that can help increase our strategy toward time to market, getting all these nice stuff about Sitecore beyond the content framework around marketing out there, without the need to wait until we are mature enough to start employing these things. All right, so what does Sitecore AI and machine learning fit within all of these different use cases? I just wanted to start with that, so you can keep these examples in the back of your head, and then try to imagine these different offerings and how these fits within these different scenarios. And obviously, I think as many, and I was one of them, the first time the discussion started around Sitecore AI recently. I'm not going to say like a year ago or 2 years ago. It's just like recently, it's always come to mind Sitecore Cortex, right? And then there has been the discussion around Sitecore AI during symposium. So in an effort to understand these two different offerings, what are the different capabilities, the scenarios, and when we talk about Sitecore AI, do we mean it in its broad definition, or do we mean it as a specific product or module? So I'm just going to spend a couple next of slides talking about these two. So Sitecore Cortex, in its essence, is the machine learning engine. It's built in within Sitecore, starting from 9.1 plus, and it provides you with the different tool sets that help you to process, analyze, aggregate, and discover these different patterns within the customer behavior. And obviously, just thinking about it from this perspective, we're talking about building these on top of prediction. And when we talk about prediction, then we mean from a technical point of view, we have to go through the process of, having a model, having a data set, doing the training for these data, having to frame all these business objectives and extract these attributes to put it in the machine learning point of view, right? So it's gonna be using all the data, all the historical data that we have accumulated about the customer behavior and their interaction with the site through the XCP, and it allows you to hook this up either to an out-of-the-box machine learning system, which we're going to talk about it shortly, or you can integrate it with your own. So there are different usage for Sitecore Cortex within the spectrum, and it will help you, convert all these different sets of raw data into a valuable high market segments, and then use that to discover new segments, predict customer, the intention of these customers, perform A/B testing, and provide personalization to content. So there's two things I want to highlight within these capabilities of Sitecore Cortex in association with the cases that we talked about. The first one is going to be content tagging. So content tagging is a powerful way, a powerful tool, because the first time you work with it and suddenly you see like all your content tagged is a nice thing to have. But basically, it allows you to integrate with with a machine learning based NLP engine. And it can be the default one that's provided by Sitecore, which is the integration with OpenKLA, or you can have your own integration and hook it up within the engine. And this is the nice thing about Sitecore Cortex, giving this machine learning engine processing, and then you can extend that and do your own. It gives you the option once you have that integration, and specifically once you configure your OpenKLA key integration and connection with Sitecore, you start to have the option to tag content. And basically what happens is that you have your content, right? To have this big chunk of content, this OpenKLA integration or this engine allows you to process and analyze these different semantics and your content, detect different metadata, and then come up with a suggested list of tags or metadata that you can tag your content with. It's nice, especially that it can take off the burden of tagging lots and lots of articles and working with different kind of businesses and different kind of needs. Sometimes content tagging becomes a huge need, especially for content authors. The other capability that we get out of Sitecore Cortex is the personalization suggestion. And the nice thing about this is if you have been using A/B testing when test which component is best to present in which way and which personalization works best while you're creating your customer journey. So basically, what happens is that Sitecore takes all these different A/B tests that you have created, that you have accumulated, and start to give you personalization suggestion based on what test has given the highly likely interaction and give you the highest engagement to use, and then gives you these different suggestion and show it to you in the dashboard as potentially when you're working with this component, it's better to use this personalization or use this view to have the maximum interaction out of your personalization. Different examples have been shown so far around Sitecore Cortex. If you go online, there's a different valuable session that gives you more in details about how the machine learning engine works, how this process is integrated with Sitecore, and how you can use it for recommendation or how you can customize it and hook it up with your own machine learning or NLP system. So this is some of the use cases that actually fits nicely as a start point when talking about machine learning and you're thinking about recommendation, suggestions for personalization, and definition of segmentation. So having said that, what is Sitecore AI? So Sitecore AI is something new. It's the first SaaS module that's offered by Sitecore that you can install and hook up to any version of Sitecore 9. You not necessarily have to be on 9.1 plus. And the main target of the current version of Sitecore AI is to help you identify these different patterns within your customer data, define these segments, and automatically do the personalization on your behalf without you having to worry about defining these personalization rules, what kind of engagement I'm looking for, and then start to do your own segmentation. We're losing this segmentation in a different way. So it starts to become a very, very promising tool when it comes to taking or reducing the burden of maintaining these personalization rules to increase the engagement and in a very quick manner. And how it's done. So what Sitecore AI is going to do is going to go into your behavioral data, your XDB data, and going to create, as of the initial release of it, around 8 clusters. And what happens with that is the only part that you are requested to do, and we've been learning about that with the use case of Microsoft, is to create a different variation of the components and how you want your personalization. So during Symposium, Sitecore announced that Microsoft has been their pilot customer to test and see the the benefits of using AI within that. And they have like around 11 languages. They did the personalization across different 6 pages, but maybe 38 variation until they started to see a value and a shift in their customer interaction and work with that. So what this AI engine or this AI algorithm is going to do is once it identifies that a certain visitor or customer fits within a cluster, it's going to assign it to a certain cluster, and then based on their engagement value, they're going to select the best personalization. So the first time I've read about this one and trying to understand what does actually this means, it sounded a little bit bizarre. I did not have the, like, what does this mean? What do we mean by creating these clusters? What does that mean? What's our job now when we going to do this personalization? So I'm going to talk a little bit now about clustering in AI, just using an example that we are very familiar with, which is Netflix. So clustering within, its broad definition, if a human is doing a cluster, it's the process of grouping people and dividing those based on certain attributes, right? Such as their gender, their income, their location, their geography, and this kind of attributes. However, when you think about it from a human perspective, the limitation beyond being, like biased, these specific attributes or characteristics are not necessarily one of the dominant indicator of my interaction with your brand, right? So when AI comes into the place, what the clustering algorithm does is going to remove all the bias from these clusters and find which kind of data are right for you based on your behavior, regardless of from where you're coming. So let's say I'm based in Jordan, and my based on what Netflix suggested to me is like based on watching Wilderness, I have these recommendation to me, right? But my neighbor, they might be interested with Rick and Morty nowadays. So it does not make any sense for me the next time I start to watch Netflix to be recommended based on geography or based on what my neighbors are looking for, but rather on people similar to me who has similar interest, what has been most entertaining or interesting to them. And definitely the recommendation algorithm within Netflix, personalization of which movies they are going to recommend is or has become one of the most sought after algorithm to understand how the recommendation happens when we use AI and how we can utilize that. So this is one example. And if you think about the current offering of Sitecore, which one we can use, maybe we can use Cortex about that. So before even thinking about going into the investment in Sitecore AI itself as a module, because it's a SaaS module, so this means there's money behind it, right? There's a budget that need to be allocated. There's going to be an investment. There's certain things we're going to talk about it a little bit further down around AI that we need to keep in mind when we make this decision. Another nice feature, and I think this could potentially help bringing the idea of how clustering is done in AI, which is the generation of the thumbnails. So if I'm watching Netflix and I'm interested in Stranger Things, and a friend of mine is watching that, the thumbnail of that series that they're displayed to you can vary from one to the other. And what the Netflix AI algorithm does actually is it's gonna take this video, break it into frames, and then for each frame it assigns a certain metadata to it. So let's say it's gonna take into consideration the number of faces shown in this frame, maybe the skin tone, maybe the brightness, maybe does it have only a text, or we are relying more on having certain actors into it. And as it starts to assign or annotate these images or frames with these metadata and attributes, the algorithm is going to start to rank each image based on the likelihood of a click on that. So if I'm more interested in a certain genre in AI, so let's say in Netflix, I'm more interested in action. And every time I click on a movie within the action genre, I'm more into any suggestions that has, a fight scene or like whatever within that frame, rather than if I'm being displayed with the text only or with less information about what I am trying to see. So what this algorithm does, it's going to create user profiles, and this is also what's done in Sitecore, right? We have these user profiles and start to put these in different clusters or different groups. So in this example, we have maybe 10 clusters, and one is for thriller movies, one for action. And the closer these clusters together, it can create a new segment. So maybe we start to have movie that people are interested in comedy, people who are interested in romantic, but then we started to see a huge interaction or a huge engagement for those who are watching the romantic comedy genre, because they combine humor with romance in their preferences. So what happens is that based on these ranking and the different way these algorithms start to put based on your engagement with it, it starts to discover new segments. It starts to put you in a more of a one-to-one proper mapping of you based on your interaction and behavior in that cluster. And then all these personalization activities are done based on that. And this is basically the first offering of auto personalization and Sitecore, and the Sitecore module is going to be all about. It's identifying your customer behavior and based on an engagement value in this case. So our metadata in this case is going to be the engagement value, and which part of your site, which components, which variants that we have been trying to test has got the highest score of interaction. And then the algorithm gonna put you in the right cluster and do all this work on your behalf. And your interaction is going to be just to define these different personalization scenarios. And this is how the AI dashboard looks like. It gives you more information about each cluster, which profiles has been used for identifying these segments, how did they does these ranking, and etc. I've used these screenshots from the documentation because in order to have installed this, I have to have your client buy this module, install it, and then operate on actually millions and millions of data. So in a nutshell, what the current offering of AI and what Sitecore give us in its first initial, let's say, piloting of AI within Sitecore is to help you identify segments by using AI and AI only. So your content authors or your marketing team does not have to go on and do all these efforts to define segments and put users within these different segments. It's gonna personalize on your behalf based on what is the best match based on your engagement value. And finally, it's going to take all the burden of creating and maintaining, all the personalization rules in the rules engine, everything that we have been using manually, it's going to come out of the box. Or if I can say with more governed and more controlled by the framework rather than you as a marketer. So after we think about what are the different use cases where we might be needing AI, what are the current Sitecore offering, whether it's through pure machine learning or through the AI engine as an algorithm is going to do everything in your behalf, then you start to think, okay, at which step in your journey you want to start to employ this. And if you guys are familiar with the maturity model from Sitecore, it defines different stages on how mature your brand now at this stage, and what are the different tools that you can utilize out of Sitecore to achieve and to move your customer in this maturity model. So if you are still new to your main goal is just to gain traffic, and then afterwards, once you build this momentum, you want to start to employ personalization and do automation in a different perspective, then you might be looking at more of a sequence of the maturity. However, the nice thing about AI is that you don't have to be in the right end of the spectrum, right? You don't have to be here to say my client or my business is mature enough now so I can start to use AI. You can start as actually way ahead of time. It can help you to start early. Once you have your alignment of business or your business need, this is exactly what I need, then you can start to use it to optimize the experience, because AI in this case is not the goal. AI is the tool that's going to help you to mature. But one of the nice thing about it is that going to help you achieve this earlier in the process without the need to go through all these different personalization activities or preparation that we typically do when we are trying to build our marketing strategy. One thing to always, sorry, it jumped quickly, to always keep in mind when we're talking about machine learning or talking about shipping this decision making from human back to the machine is not to overdo it. And by meaning that, we need a certain level of optimization, because while we're training the model and the engine is trying to learn the different behaviors, identify different segments, and define the best personalization approach to show, sometimes over optimizing it might result in undesirable behavior, because you want this to be a more of a natural process rather than just focusing on getting things right. Because our behavior and our intentions shift, and everyone, you can see now, while the breakout of the COVID-19, there's a huge shift in our behavior, in our interaction, our brand focus and shift, because maybe until the beginning of this year, our main focus was on doing everything that gonna maybe increase our upselling or cross-selling across all the different products that we have. But through this epidemic, there has been a shift. So make sure that you are adapting to these different changes and your customer interaction with your brand. So I want to finish with asking this question again: is Sitecore AI right for me as a business? And the things that you need to keep in mind when you want to consider Sitecore AI as a SaaS add-on to your Sitecore instance is that you have to have at least 12 million visits per year for the website to actually have the proper data and interaction to make the AI algorithm to work over time. So if your business is thinking about it, but you might not be able to generate that volume of visits, maybe not think about Sitecore AI, maybe think about Cortex. It's a SaaS model again, so this means there's a cost that comes behind it. So in my case, our client, when we went through towards having this, and we had this meeting with the Sitecore product team, having a better understanding, showcase that we have these visitors, we have lots and lots of information and segments and work that we want to do on personalization around it, and it has to be cloud-based, so it has to be done on the cloud to utilize that. But then when it came at the budgeting aspect of it, given the current circumstances, we had to pause, we had to reevaluate. Does it make a business value to me? Can I fit that within my budget, within my current skill set? Because with Sitecore AI, you don't have to worry about the algorithm. Sitecore is taking care of that. So if your business in a position, I'm not going to say like hand over the decision making to someone else, but if you want to own that and have more a say, then maybe that's something you can discuss with the product team and have a better understanding of how that's used. So there's lots and lots promising about using Sitecore AI, the auto personalization, by having the ability to auto segment, to find segments, do this clusterization, put these visitors in the right cluster, do this personalization on your behalf is a game changer. And definitely having the ability to do this earlier in the process without having to be mature enough to do that is also like a game changer. But there's a different consideration around that you need to keep in mind, and make sure you are in the right Sitecore version if you wish to investigate more. So unfortunately, this is where my journey with Sitecore AI ended. I was hoping earlier, before this whole thing happened, that we have a solid business case that we can have a demo or show more about Sitecore AI, but things are rapidly changing, and hopefully in the future, if I had the opportunity to work with it beyond all this POC work that we've done, or the work that we've done with Cortex, I can help shed more information around that. And actually, that's it for me. I definitely would love to thank you all for joining me this afternoon, or in your evening, or your early morning. It has been a pleasure being part of this great community. We all see each other on Sitecore Exchange. It's a huge source of information that you always can refer to get this information. You can always use the Sitecore Slack community channel to ask any questions you want. And obviously, you can reach out to anyone in the community through different social media. Feel free to do that with me or anyone in the community. Everyone would be happy to answer any questions or concerns that you might have. And I'm gonna thank you and open it for any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Ishraq. We have one question right now. Is Sitecore AI a cloud-based SaaS service so that it is not enabled out of the box? Which action should be taken to enable it on Sitecore instance, and how much does it cost? So cost.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try to answer this. So you have to be on any hosted cloud, right? Because it has to be either on Azure, on AWS, on, it has to be a cloud base for the machine learning algorithm to use these capabilities. In order to enable that, it's not like a module we're gonna find it out in the Sitecore download page, right? You have to get in touch with a Sitecore representative. It's an add-on. It's sold as a SaaS offering, so you have to install it and configure it as an addition on top of Sitecore. How much it costs? It's it's based on which region you're having, which client you're working with, and Sitecore has been piloting this with a specific type of clients and businesses that they want this to work with. So that's definitely a question for a Sitecore rep to have more information on that. But if I can put you in contact with some of the Sitecore product team that might be able to answer such questions as well. But that's definitely for them to answer.
All right. The next question is, will Sitecore team do the optimization and tuning of Sitecore AI specifically for your business over time? Is this over time Sitecore AI tuning and optimization service included in Sitecore AI pricing, or do we have to pay extra for this?
Again, this depends on how you buy the services from Sitecore, right? Because in our case, when we were talking about getting a quote on what we want, we had lots of customization because they said the source of truth of these data are not only located in Sitecore. We had an integration with third-party system, so that meant that they need to help us modify their own algorithm to read and integrate with these different way of how content has been structured, content has been tagged, and how we managed to calculate the propensity values and the different attributes. They needed to understand that, see if that fits within their algorithm. Can they support it out of the box, or there might be a further modification down the line? So these conversations are best evaluated based on your conversation with them, because they know their algorithm better than we do, and they can tell you that, yeah, we can support it out of the box along the line, or no, this will need more maintainability, so you might be charged extra. So
Great, thanks. The next question is, any Sitecore AI learning guide available to start with?
I'm gonna be honest. It was hard, very, very hard to get something on this beyond the generic information I've shared with you guys. I think there has been many articles and blogs from people who attended the symposium that had these information about, what's the intention of it, clustering and this kind of stuff. But everything else has been a personal effort to understand how this is done actually within the AI world and how we can utilize it with our business. They would share with you documentation, but I did not find anything in public that can share with it. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've done lots of work to research that. But if I have the chance to find any, I would tweet that. But yeah, based on my knowledge so far, there is no guidelines you're gonna find it out there that gonna describe all of this, because at the end of the day, in the case of Sitecore AI, it's more of it's commoditized within the platform, so it's like a black box for us. They're doing all the processing, they're doing all of these things, and you get the output. It's not like Cortex, it's the processing engine, so you can understand how this is done. You can integrate that and customize. This one's going to be within the engine itself.
Right. Thank you. Then the next question, if the website is not developed on SaaS-based model, then how can we use AI in the website?
So I think this is a very good question, and obviously this is a question for Sitecore that needs to. There has been lots of discussion around that since we've heard about SaaS since Sitecore 9, right? And they have been trying to come up with, whether during the SUGCON or hopefully within the coming series, with a more solid, understanding. If I'm currently working on, on the platform as now, can we add it like similar to Content Hub? Is it something that we can integrate? Because Content Hub is a SaaS module. Is the integration going to be similar in that sense, or we have to be generally moved into a SaaS based on what I've shown you guys in the slides? It's an add-on as a SaaS module on top of what you have, at least for the time being. And the only requirement for you is to be on Sitecore 9 and on a cloud-based setup.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. I think the last question there was about, all right, blog post, which you've already addressed. There is one question about Azure also has machine learning, which is better?
I mean, I'm not going to contradict that because this is a very valid question, right? And obviously, when Sitecore built their AI, they used the Azure machine learning and they're piloting with Microsoft. So that's why we have to be on the cloud so you can utilize the Azure machine learning and the different, machine learning systems that are on top of a cloud-based service. Why it is better? Again, this is what I wanted to address when I wanted to ask this question. Are you currently satisfied with your setup and you want this AI capabilities to be customized by you, so you can just hook up with an Azure machine learning and do have that, maintained and managed everything in-house, or you don't have that experience and you want to use the out-of-the-box built-in? Definitely, if I'm wearing a marketing hat, I can go on and on and on about, the benefits of getting that out of the box. It's going to leverage your XDB data using the XConnect, do all these processing, and provide you doing all of these clustering on the platform side without you having to worry about anything but create a different variation for the personalization to happen. But obviously, this is a question for you as a business. What do I want? Do I have the proper expertise? Do I need to invest and put extra money in that SaaS model? And that has been one of the questions that we had with this client, from a budgeting perspective. Do we need really to invest with that? Although we have a huge amount of data that we need to migrate to XConnect, to XDB. We have lots and lots of information that we're getting from a third-party system. So it was not only about using the Sitecore AI SaaS module, but also to discuss with the product team to customize their algorithm to see if it can deal with these data that coming also outside the XDB if we don't want to host it there, or the type of information. So definitely it's a valid question. Everyone can answer it the way they fit. They want to sell Sitecore, I'm going to say go with Sitecore AI. It's the best next thing. But definitely you as a business, you need to define if this is the right thing for me. Do I want to invest with that to have towards individualization or a centric customer experience by having everything within Sitecore as a platform without the need to do any integration? Then go for it.
Great, thank you. One last question, I guess, and you can feel free to let me know if this is actually not related to your topic. The question is, can XConnect be scaled to do different data centers in Azure?
Yeah, I'm going to defer this question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Yeah, I think that's all we had. and we're on time as well. So yeah, unless any
All
other
right.
question, I guess nothing
Thank
else.
you.
Great. Thank you so much,
All right.
Ishraq.
Thank you guys for
Yeah.
having me, and thank everyone who tuned in. Keep tuning in for there's lots and lots of interesting topics coming our way for the next, I don't know, it's less than 24 hours now, but hope you're gonna enjoy the SUGCON. And thank you so much.
Right. Thank you.
Sorry.
We're seeing your Slack, Gopi.
Right.
Do you want me to share?
I can share. 1 second.
Okay. All right. Think Slack again.
No.
All right. Yeah.
Are you saying donation, right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Oh, cam is on.
Morning, guys.
We should say good
Night
morning.
shift for you guys.
I'm almost 1 hour away to enter into
Sleep
first.
mode.
Yeah. Nah, next date.
Okay, right. You're into tomorrow already.
Yeah, you guys are in still 30th. We are entering to first.
All right.
How many hours you had sleep? You were just couple of hours away.
Oh, I got enough. I got enough for today. Head into the weekend and sleep then.
Oh,
I got
Cam,
5
you're
hours.
awake.
I'm always awake.
Blatant product placement.
We're all gonna end up with hair like this by the end of this lockdown, so
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Bruce is here too. Gopi, do you want to just walk through the 2 slides again?
Yeah, I can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, donations. Not many people are fortunate like us, so feel free to contribute to healthcare professionals, doctors, WHO, and all. Feel free to donate. And we had, I guess, around right now how many? 1682. 1 second. Please feel free to go to fundraise page and donate the funds. And I don't know, if anyone have anything to add to the page, you can. Just back to the slides, and I'll go to next one. We just got 5 more minutes, right? And we do have a breakout room, Zoom one. This is the links, and again, please don't share this password in social medias, social channels, so as we are afraid of Zoom bombings. I don't know if there is any activities going on right now because I haven't been there in some time.
it was pretty busy last night.
But
A lot of
last
people
couple of
watching.
yeah, I guess last couple of sessions it was very silent there.
Yeah, probably.
Not many people.
People working and middle of the night for North
Sleeping.
America as well.
Yeah, people working, sleeping.
Yeah.
Oh, we got. Sure, I can make you presenter.
Hey, your next speaker is on. Hello.
Hey, Baz.
Bas.
I think you're still on mute.
Yeah, Bas is on mute. I'll give the presenter rights to Bas.
There you go.
Ah, that's better.
There you go.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Do you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
Great. How's it going, peeps? Happy so far?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's been good. Been a lot of good sessions. Yeah, a lot of great information as always, right?
yeah. 13 over, I guess. 11 to go.
Halfway
Cool.
through now.
Yeah.
So
Halfway through.
Great to hear. So it's funny. I'm more nervous than in a regular presentation on stage for some reason. I really don't know why that is, but yeah, maybe because it's the first time that I have a live webinar or something like that.
right. Right, I guess if something goes wrong when you're on stage, you could just juggle or something, right? Or just bring
Yeah.
out another bot, right? And have the bot do the presentation. So it's people just go, oh.
Well, in this case, I can just pull the plug from my internet connection and I disappear.
We all
So
know
when
where you
that
live,
happens,
bad. Start getting
yeah,
on
I know. Yeah.
We'll stalk you on Twitter.
Cool.
I just made you presenter, Bas.
Yeah, great. I'm going to show my my screen.
Yeah.
What's the difference between screen of monitor 3 and the clean tag behind it?
Hides the desktop icons and things.
Icons and all.
Okay, well, I don't care. You're allowed to see my icons.
Yeah, seeing your web page.
Yes, this is okay.
Just a quick. We have 332 people right now.
Nice.
Mm.
They're all here for you, boss.
I know that. I know it. Oh, I love that background, cameras.
Thank you. Had a great model.
Yeah. Oh, I was laughing so hard. I'm glad someone muted me.
Yeah, there we go. You can see the slide deck.
Cool.
We are on time whenever you are ready, I guess.
Oh, it's already 10 past 1. Cool. 9 past 1. Well, let me turn off my phones just to be sure. Otherwise, I will get distracted by all the notifications and things like that.
Everyone pinging you on Slack.
Yeah. Hey, where are you? Get back online. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm ready to go.
Awesome. All yours.
Yep. All yours.
Can we start?